Hola familia, I'm Brandy Sky, and I'm a wild dream coach. I help folks like you do things that you feel and think are impossible, or that others have told you are impossible. They're not. I'm here today to share with you. It's kind of like a really big reveal. I've just designed all the covers for the 2024 Woke Magic Grimoire. And in this video, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to do a cover reveal, which I'm really excited about, and share with you kind of the behind the scenes of the medicine and the magic that I infuse each of the elements within the Woke Magic Grimoire. And for a super sneak peek, this is one of the covers for fall. But unlike all of the previous seasons, this 2024 season tells a story. And I can't wait to share with you what it is. So I'll see you on the flip side. All right, friends. I am so excited to walk you through the medicine that I infused into each of the collages for the covers of the Woke Magic Grimoire. I have never done this before, but there's been like a lot of requests and asks from my community, mi gente, about the covers. And the covers and all the artwork and everything that is in the grimoire is so intentional and so in alignment with the devotion and magic and medicine that I want to invite us all to cultivate. And so I'm really excited about this 2024 familia of grimoires because for the first time in the last 3 years, we're going into our third year. This is the first time that the covers have told an overarching story. Like the covers this season have really wanted to be a part of each other. And I feel like that's really representational of where we are all going energetically. Is this movement towards connection, this movement towards finding the dots and connecting the dots, this movement towards being our best selves in direct relationship to how we can then model for others how to be their best selves. And so I'm really excited about it, and I'm really excited to share this with you. Thank you to all who have purchased all four. I'm dropping the link if you want to do that below. But let's go ahead and dive into the medicine and magic behind the covers. So our first grimoire we're starting with, you can already see right here, is our Spring 2024 Woke Magic Grimoire. And as I was sitting and creating this next family of grimoires, there was so much newness that wanted to show up inside, and new things that have been added, which I'll make a separate video to walk you through that have never been shared before. So the cover really wanted to reflect that. The cover really wanted to reflect the fact that there's a sense of freshness, there's a sense of newness, there's a sense of blossoming and blooming and color, and this idea of bringing in something new into the world. And so what you're looking at here is this is the front part of the cover, and then this is the back cover. And what I really tried to do is that it was intentional that I wanted them to be a mirror. It felt intentional to make them a mirror. As above, so below, as within, so without. And so the beginning is also the ending is also the beginning. And what better way to really call that into ourselves, into our being, into our medicine, into our magic, than with this idea of flowers, this metaphor of blooming, the metaphor of spreading our wings and flying, right? Like flying into this new cycle of creation, ready to bloom forward what we have planted in our hibernation of winter. And so it really felt important to have that medicine reflected on the cover. So that way, when you receive your grimoire, and even just looking at it is a meditation on how can I bloom? How can I take what are seedlings in here and really blossom them out into the world and share it with the world, which is exactly what the Woke Magic Grimoire is designed to do. It's looking at ourselves, paying radical attention to our medicine and magic, our own rhythms, our own patterns, so that then we can use what we're learning and work with it to move our wild dreams forward, right? To move that which we want to bring into being forward. And so the medicine of spring is, for this particular cycle, and really all cycles, is really about that blooming, that becoming. And Eagle is here on the cover as a animal ally as you move into this spring cycle to really help you feel and fuel your innate royalty, your innate ability and capability and plausibility of flying really fucking high, right? Like, flying as high as you can is equivalent to living the best life that you can. And Eagle is here to really help us hone in on what it is that needs to bloom so that then we can fly and spread our wings and just be bountiful without, like, outside of us. And the thread, I'll circle back to it at the end because I don't really want to tell you that. We'll tie it back when we get to the winter grimoire. And so what I want to invite you to do is, when you get the grimoire, even when you're watching this video right now, is really just take a moment and do this with every cover. Do this with every cover that you're going to see. I want you to let yourself really kind of like soften in your body. Let your gaze soften. And I want you to focus in the center of both the front cover and the back cover. So I want you to direct your eyes to this point right here and just let your gaze soften. And I want you to use this cover as a scrying tool. And so I'm doing it now as I'm talking you through it. I've softened my gaze. I'm looking directly at the center, and I'm allowing my vision to stretch, right? So I'm not focusing on anything other than the center, but because I'm focusing on the center, I can see like this whole point of vision is stretching. And what I see and what's coming through for me is the beak of a bird and the eyes. And this is Eagle also being embedded in here and wanting to be an ally. But that's what I see. So I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and really allow this to be a tool for you to sear into an ally, an energy, a vibration, a feeling, a word, an archetype, whatever wants to come through as you really kind of hone into the center. I really want to invite you to take a moment and do that. Relax the gaze, stretch out your vision, and then allow what comes forward to come forward. And I want to invite you to do that with every single grimoire cover that comes up. And especially if you have the physical version of the grimoire, I want to invite you to like do this out of the virtual space and like lay your grimoire flat and use it as a tool for scrying, not just this one time, but throughout the season of spring. Okay. Our next grimoire is Summer 2024. And I love this cover. Like when I was sitting in the heat of summer and the heat of creating this cover, the thing that kept coming, obviously I'm saying it, is like the heat, is the fire, is the sun, right? Is the center of our solar system, right? But also how the sun plays a part in so many different aspects of ourselves, right? We have a sun sign. We have our own like personal beginning astrological new year. We have our own personal year, which is like the sun in which the rest of it orbits. We also have like in our birth chart, we have our own coded energetic frequency, right? That if we look at this symbol of the sun movement throughout the day in our birth chart, we can see our own energetic frequency and our best, like most prolific times of day. And so it really, 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 really wanted to be the sun, and the sun as a focal point. And again, looking at the front cover and then looking at the back, I felt called to kind of give the frequency of movement, right? The frequency of spinning on an axis, right? So like this movement this way, but also a movement this way. And so it's really about looking at our lives in a very 360 degree level, right? So we're accessing the accessing. That's what I'm trying to say. We're accessing, you know what I'm trying to say. We're going this way, right? We're moving this way. And so what I also want to, and we do this like counterclockwise, clockwise, like the clocks, like it moves in a sphere that we're used to. But I kind of want us to flip that sphere, flip our perspective, and look at everything from this frequency, from this perspective. And that's really what this cover, the energy behind this cover. And then again, we have another animal ally, and we have the Queztal, which is a Mexican indigenous bird that then lights into the phoenix. Like the energy of summer really feels like rooting and lighting up who we are, right? Our own native indigenous, our own selves, right? Like we are all native to ourselves, lighting that part up, and then really using that to light up our work, our world, our art, whatever it is we want to do. So we're really lighting that on fire and moving in a season where we are creating from that light and from our fire. That is the medicine of the Summer Grimoire. I'm just checking in to make sure that there's nothing. I feel like I should speak on this. So what also felt called, besides just being like the center of the sun, was that so the sun is in communication with other planets. And I really wanted to show that here by adding the other planets in addition to the sun, so that we always remember that even though we are front and center and we are centering our lives, our experiences, our choices, we are always in communication with other planets, in collaboration, in communion with things that are outside of ourselves. So that is very much what summer is presenting. Our next grimoire is almost, I want to say my favorite, only because it's my favorite season. We have the Autumn 2024 Woke Magic Grimoire. And so this cover right here was really the starting point for all the other grimoires, the covers. So like when I sat down to really feel into what this family of grimoires, what it wanted to look and feel like, I started with this grimoire. because it's my favorite season, but also it is an adaptation of what 2023's cover of Fall Grimoire was. And I knew when I created and channeled that grimoire that this was like what the thread wanted to be for the 2024 family. And so here we have this idea of falling away, right? Of releasing, of allowing things that need to be let go, but and also we have the energy of what we cultivated in spring, right? Now coming into fruition, now coming into our orbit and our world. And this is where like the alchemy is, this is a transmutation part. So the alchemy was the fire and the burning and turning all of that materials into soul gold. And then this is what happens when that transmutation happens, right? It's that moment of transmutation, of rebirth, when something becomes the thing that it wasn't, but then was also always meant to be. And so fall, the medicine of this this visual was really that kind of like blurring of the lines, blurring of the mirroring, blurring, and almost like a upside down, topsy-turvy, that movement of like spinning that creates, combustion that then creates something wholly new. So there's like a transmutation that's happening, and we have the animal ally of snake here with us to help aid us in transforming, to help aid us in being comfortable, or more comfortable than we would normally be, about letting go what needs to die, letting go what needs to be released, letting go what no longer serves us. And an ally of wisdom, right? Of what all of this transmutation and everything that we're doing is moving towards. This grimoire always has a special place in my heart, because the first grimoire that went out to folks happened. It was the autumn grimoire, and it was autumn 2021. And this grimoire has just like a special place in my heart and holds so much medicine. And so it was really, really important for me to reflect that in every edition of the cover of the grimoire. Our next and final grimoire is Winter 2024. And this is Winter 2024 going into 2025. This grimoire this cover is radically different from any other winter grimoire that I've ever channeled and created. And this one implicitly wanted to be different than any other winter grimoire I created, because it felt like this winter is like a shift and into the depths, into the core of ourselves, right? It felt like a deepening of what just transpired in the first part, the spring, summer, and fall. And then like being in a little like, it felt like being in the middle of nowhere and looking up at this vast sky and knowing that here you are, this complex being with all these experiences in the midst of an even greater grand experience. And when we go into winter, when we are wintering, it becomes about that relationship of how this human standing in the middle of this vast vortex, how this connects with this, right? And this grimoire basically said that it wanted you, I, we, us to feel into the vastness of our whole cycle that just transpired, but also our life, right? Because the grimoire is a reflection. It's a piece of a greater puzzle, right? And so each grimoire serves as like a little slice of our life puzzle. It's like, here is a snapshot of what happened winter 2024. Here's a snapshot of the medicine and the magic and the lessons that presented themselves to me in the autumn 2024 grimoire. And so together they create like the vastness that in which we stand in awe and go, wow, it creates the vastness of our life. And so the medicine really wanted to be that. It really wanted to be that, but it also wanted to harken back to the cycle that we've just done. And so we have the fall of the tree. We have a full moon, which is reflected of, the sun being in its fullness of summer. And then we have the leaves, of the trees from the blooming of the spring, right? And then we have, I very, very hintily put in the triple moon goddess. It's very faint. You can see it better in the printed version. And this was because it really wanted to be a place where we like felt into our own inner divinity. Like allowing this winter to be a place where we really settle into our divineness of the unity of what we feel in the world inside and in the world outside. And then ever so faint, the animal ally that came through for us winter 2024 is the black jaguar. This is also the animal ally of the season on the Aztec medicine wheel, and it really felt like a very potent and powerful ally in that there's a fierceness and a rarity that we experience in winter that no other season holds. It's like the void, the what happened before the Big Bang. It's that moment of almost liminality, the space of Nepantla. Like we feel it more in winter because it's like we're moving away from all these things that we've created into this last seasonal cycle, and we're like burrowing into who we are now and kind of like beginning the stages of like gestation into what possibly will be coming up in the next cycle. And Jaguar is a really great ally so that we don't get lost in the darkness, that we don't get lost in the incubation. It is a reminder that we are all warriors in the sense of we all have the medicine and the capability and the light to lead ourselves wherever the fuck we want to go. And so Jaguar here at this time is a reminder that we always are in our power, even in the moments of gestation and especially in moments of incubation. It's a reminder to stay in our power. And so quickly, before we end, I want to talk a little bit about the thread that connects them all. And it is the color. It's this teal color, right? So it shows up here in kind of like this wavy overwash. Also, the triple moon goddess, I don't think you can tell, is in the same teal color. Teal shows up here in the snake, in the autumn, of course, on the Quetzal bird here. and then at the very beginning in the background. And teal is a kind of the intersection of so many different colors. And it's a shade that personally for me reminds me of home. Like this teal turquoise reminds me of who I am, my ancestors, my lineage. And so the invitation here is what that color means to you, but also what does the movement, right? So here teal is in the background. Here we have teal right up in your face in the heat of summer. Here we have teal, you know, a little lower. We have a double teal. Like, what does that teal looking at itself mean? And then at the end, we have like an overwash, very faintly hidden. And so it's also the movement of color frequencies, right? Of what teal and that intersectional shade means to you. And so really here at the beginning of spring and the beginning of our journey with the Woke Magic Grimoire, really feeling into what does a color teal mean to you? And really feeling into that, centering into that, and then letting that thread being the movement in and out of what your 2024 season and cycle is going to be. I love y'all so, so much. I hope this was really helpful. Let me know in the comments below. The link to purchase all four will be below. Also, the link if you just want the spring will be below. And if you have any questions, or let me know in the comments, what does teal mean for you? Or what did you see when you did your relaxing seer gaze into each of the covers? I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope that you are as excited as I am about this new familia of magic. And if you are interested, which I hope you are, in bringing the magic grimoire into your world, into your magic, I have shared the link in the description below. And I have some really beautiful things planned for us as we move into the 2024 season. I love y'all so, so much. And I will see you in the next video in Lakesh.